Hello everyone and welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy Heroes video and to another Grand Arena highlight reel, but this time in 5v5 season 36. I have around 20 fights to show you from my Jammax account mainly, so hopefully they can provide a reference for a counter should you need one in your own Grand Arenas. And just to quickly note as well, you may have noticed but my channel branding has been updated. I've been working hard behind the scenes on getting all the elements I will need for streaming, which I should hopefully be starting soon, so keep an eye out for that announcement in my community tab. I do need to give a massive shout out to Tom, who has been helping me with the animations and made my brand new intro transition for me. So if you like to watch film reviews or fan theory clips of popular film and TV shows, then make sure to drop his channels a sub, of which I shall put in the description down below. Anyway, without further ado, let's just jump straight into these fights. Okay, so first up we have Bad Batch v Qui-Gon Jinn. This is a very easy counter if you have a Relic Omega. It's a bit harder if you don't have her in the team and try undersized, as you saw in one of my previous Grand Arena videos. But with the Relic Omega, it makes light work of Qui-Gon Jinn, as you'll see. We'll literally just go straight after Anakin with the first special from Echo, and then the assist from Hunter should just pop Qui-Gon Jinn, and then you'll just kill everyone in one go, as you saw. Next, we have a bit of a random team. I have just been trying to find some different teams to use Cat with. Obviously, that rather than just putting her with JMK all the time, just to try and find some different things out. And this is one of the things I did find out was against a crew First Order TIE Pilot Omicron team. We do get a nice win here, even though it's a bit of an oddball team and you wouldn't really probably run this against anything really. I was just trying things out, but it does do quite well. You get a decent amount of banners here. Oh, it's not an Omicron team, sorry. It's just a regular crew First Order team. But Cat is very good outside of JMK. As you know, she has a very good unique that gives her lots of extra stat bonuses to Scoundrels in particular. So this is the reason why Candrus is doing a lot of damage on his basic, is because he's getting, I think it's 50% from Cat's unique bonus. And bearing in mind, Whistling Birds is all to do with offense as well. You're about to see how much damage Bam's Whistling Birds is going to do here, so be pretty nuts. Deletes 3 of them, and then all we got to do is just kill Kylo Ren. So I'll just do a leap here. That'll finish for a 61. Next we have a Dash Hondo team. So I've been using Hondo mainly with Dash in this 5v5 season so far. I have been finding that this team lineup works very well. With the Omicron as well, you will probably be starting most of the time with Dash, and not with Dash, sorry, with Hondo. And that does mean you have two options really. You can either put a captive on a annoying tank like I did with Bossk here, or you can pull Dash into assist with the second special, because from Dash's lead you gain a lot of turn meter when you crit. So obviously when you Dash uses basic, that is a mass assist ability as long as all those hits that he does crit. That is a good way to run out in front of a team if you need that to get a good head start, but otherwise you can just remove turn meter from everyone by putting a captive on. But it is obviously very dependent on who you fight. But this is quite an expensive team, and I will just point out that this team is not I don't have the Hondo Cron, so this is just a Relic 5 Hondo, which you'll need for unlocking Afra, and I do have a Datacron, but it's literally just a bit of extra crit damage and health, nothing too crazy. So I've just been trying to find some options to be able to use Hondo once his Datacron expires. Obviously bearing in mind that you will probably be able to have stat boost of some sort with any sort of Datacron that you have, so I've just been using their minimum essentially. Now we have a Emperor Palpatine Starkiller team versus a standard Rey Resistance, but as you'll notice, this is a less than optimal Starkiller team because I do have Scav Rey in there, because I do not have a Relic Thesis, and most of the time if you can, it would be ideal to take a Datacron just for any extra bonuses that you need. So I did opt to obviously take a Datacron here, which would have likely have been health and crit damage or something like that. It wouldn't have been anything too crazy. But this is a very easy counter against a standard Rey Resistance. You can just kill her before she even goes into her first ultimate if you just keep going after her. And if you could time a special with Starkiller very well, if you don't have an ability block on Rey and she's going to whirlwind you, you can just do a special with Starkiller and force that taunt onto whatever tank you've got, because they will just tank that completely because they'll have damage immunity. So it's a good way of recovering some banners if you need them. As you saw there, we just pulled down the ship onto Rey and killed her, and then we've just got to wait for the others to come out of their stun lock and damage immunity so we can get rid of them. Go around everyone who I can hit. Did put it on full also. It just seems to take Hondo ages. She finally comes out of damage immunity and we kill her. Weighs 65, so max mana is there. Now we have a very similar team, except I've got General Kenobi in instead of old Ben, against a Omi Traya and Omi Savage team. This is one where it's kind of can be very dependent on how well modded your Starkiller is, and obviously how well modded the other team is, because this is quite easy to start off with, but obviously it will just get down to Savage on his own. And as you can see from what's going on here, every time Starkiller gets called to assist from Traya's lead, it is doing damage to him. And obviously he ramps up his damage the more time he spends alive. And yeah, you'll see that it does get to a point where the health steal that he has naturally, it wasn't enough to actually heal up the damage he was dealing, so he was actually doing more damage to himself than he was being able to heal up. So I would definitely highly recommend, if you're going to run this against a Traya Omicron team and Savage Omicron, that you do take a Datacron with you that has a lot of health steal. So you need the projecting power set for that. So you can get to ultimate and it obviously full heals you, but at this point Starkiller is just doing so much damage. He is going to be hurting himself quite a lot, as you'll see. It's a very similar team that I've been running on my solo account on my normal Grand Arenas, except I put Sith Empire Trooper in instead of Talon, and it's been getting me a hold every single round. Got me a hold in every single round in the first week. It's obviously a very good team on 5v5 until while people figure out how to counter it. This is a very good counter, and I suppose with Veers you probably could have I would have been able to revive my Starkiller. So there is opportunities here for more banners. At least you have an optimal Starkiller team. There we have it for a 58 essentially. Now we have a gas counter versus a Phasmacron with First Order TIE Pilot Omicron team. Bearing in mind it doesn't have a tank, so we're able to go straight for First Order TIE Pilot and get him out as soon as possible. You can see they're not taking anything too crazy, just protection and health steal to help with our survivability. And there goes First Order TIE Pilot, and now we just got rid of Phasma next. We can stop her generating so much turn meter for her team. Now we try and keep going after her. I think we sit down. Here we do. I think before gassing we get stand up, they all fall over. Yep, and then basic to finish off Sith Trooper for a 60 banner win, because obviously protection recovery is awful, well, it's non-existent basically on a gas team. And now we have a slightly different variant to what you might have seen on one of my solo Grand Arena rounds, where I use GG Nuke. This time I'm using GG8, so we've got BB8 in there instead. Still works as well, because as soon as you land target locks and all the buff immunities, you kind of negate the Grand Inquisitor Datacron, which is what we're fighting against. So when you kill someone, they can't get damage immunity, and it does make life a bit easier when you do have a constant dispel with B2 there. So it's a very good counter and works just as well as the nuke team. Sometimes, depending on the modding of the opposite team, you can get this done a bit quicker for some extra banners, because the longer it takes, the more your GG is ramping up and the more damage he is doing to your own team. So it's quite hard to recover banners. So we're going after Grand Inquisitor first, just get him out as soon as possible, because that does mean we can now stun the Inquisitors once he's gone, because his level 9 is only active while he's alive. So go for Grand Inquisitor first, get him out as soon as possible. And then most of the time I just tend to go for 7th Sister afterwards. Depending on what the lineup is. 2nd Sister could be quite annoying if she's in here, so I probably would have gone for 2nd Sister afterwards, just to stop her from ramping up so much. She gets a lot of extra bonuses based on like deaths and things. And then focused on 7th Sister last. After 2nd Sister, that would have been, because her heals would have been really annoying. But luckily she is dead. This is the Datacron I fought against. We have the blinds on there. There we go for Illuminated Destiny, which is nice to have for some extra damage output. Kill off 8th Brother on the side there with an AoE from B1. We keep just doing wiggles with BB8. Fortunately dies there to Nightsister, because BB8 does have a taunt when he is in a droid team, which I find really odd. Even though he's like a high evasion droid, and he's not a tank, but he does have a taunt, which I suppose it is quite nice in some cases. Like, it works quite well in a salty droid team, like against Wampa and things. But most of the time when you don't want it, it can be quite frustrating. And there we go for a 58 banner win. Next up, we have Hux First Order versus two Raddus teams. So I have 2 fights here. This one is a less than optimal Raddus team because that does have some Gear 12s in here. We are running the exact same teams in both fights, so we aren't using a single tank because you can just run rings around teams with both Phasma and Kylo. Obviously bearing in mind that I'm using Phasma's Datacron here and First Order type of Omicron. It's a very good team at the moment. I've been really enjoying using First Order. It's been a lot of fun. Even though it is due to expire in, what is it, 14 days, so 2 weeks from now it's meant to expire. But supposedly we'll be getting Tuskens in the next Datacron set. Obviously, bearing in mind we just had a pretty decent road ahead, I thought. Looking forward to all the characters that are coming out. I think that'd be really interesting to see how they fit in, especially like mirroring and things for Nightsisters, because they were on my list for my wish list for 2023. Interesting to see how they play in the game. So now we have the same team again, like I mentioned, but against a Raddus Rogue One team, which is just better optimized. Lots of relics. K2 in here I think is a better tank, and I think we do play this one slightly better than the last fight, so we should see how well this does counter this team. Obviously just using any turn meter gain when we can. Passing the turn to Phasma to obviously use her middle special to give everyone out more turn meter, because she just gets that constantly. And then cleansing the dots with Sith Troopers, second special when we need to, because we are going to be getting a lot of exposures. Probably could have used that middle special from Hux onto Raddus, but we should be fine to actually kill him. As you can see, we're just running circles around them at the moment. Can't do anything. We've got the middle special back again to use that on Raddus. And we just killed Jin, and now we've just got to get rid of K2SO, and that'll be a 63 banner win, because you can't really do much with Phasmacron because of the damage she does to herself from it. So that is the unfortunate thing. And here's the kind of the second part from my Bo Katan team that you saw. So I was just using JMK randomly with some random Galactic Republic against some pretty common teams that you see on defense. So this is against Dash Omicron, just with standard solo smugglers. And we are taking my Relic 5 ETH Koth because I had to do that for the new territory battles. So I thought if I'm going to relic him up, I just don't want his only purpose to be just for deployment in TB. I am going to try and use him where possible. The same with my Kit Fisto. I was going to take Kit Fisto in this fight as well instead of R2, but I just thought, nah, the memes are too strong with ETH, so we'll just keep him out. Put R2 in. As you can see, JMK is still a very good team without Cat. Obviously, the optimal team is with Cat, but most of the time he can do a lot of stuff by himself with just a regular Galactic Republic team. So there are plenty of options to get two very good teams out of both JMK and Cat by splitting them up. We've just got to get rid of L3. This Datacron I took just lots of extra stats essentially because I was on my 8th brother Datacron. We kill L3 for a max banner win. So now we've got a couple of JML fights. First one is against an SLKR Cron with standard first order. These are the Datacrons I'm using. I think mine is just extra protection. Oh, not even that, extra potency. Obviously, that's just to help land the ability blocks, which we do get. Fortunately, on the two important ones, which were Hux and SLKR, there wasn't a ability block on first order officer, so I didn't want him giving a turn to SLKR, so I just marked him and killed him straight away. Now we can give all the buffs from Bastila to Jedi Knight Luke. Hopefully kill crew. Get days applied to SLKR. And I think, yeah, we could call in Bastila there for the ability block. I really wanted to go for Hux now, but first order stormtroopers getting in the way. Luckily, he was ability blocked, so that was fine. And first order stormtroopers got a buff immunity that was given to him by JML, so that worked out pretty well. Probably should have done a basic there for the ability block, but it's fine because we do get a mark here. No ability block yet. Trying to see if I can kill SLKR before he does anything too nasty to us, but he did manage to get a nice hit against Jedi Knight Revan there. Probably could have just basicked and finished him there, but yeah, definitely could have saved myself some banners there. Probably one extra banner if I'd just done a basic rather than going to ultimate. It is what it is. And now we have a JML fight against a Rey Ben Solo team. So I've been seeing a lot of standard Rey resistance teams with just Ben Solo plugged in. I think it is really important with Ben Solo to put healers. So on my Jammax account, I have been running a Rey, Hermit Yoda, Ben Solo, my Luminara Omicron, so another healer, and then a tank of some sort. I just feel like the heals, if you can't get Rey and Ben to the thresholds you need to get either of them to die off, obviously it just draws out the fight and it can time out the team. So it is important to bear in mind that healers with a Ben Solo Rey team is going to be really beneficial for you in either holding for a fight or just timing out a team, so it can get you some nice holds and help you with your banners. Well, not help you with your banners, but help you take banners away from your opponent is what I meant. But it is still a very good team, especially against like the likes of JML, who would have been a very good counter against a standard resistance team. I just seen a weird cut there. The stun from Gentle Luke froze my screen and stopped my recording, so I had to skip a bit. But we just do a big stun abilities, hence why some of them were stunned. The dude's was it Grandmaster Yoda? I think it was Grandmaster Yoda there. We lost there from the ultimate, but it's kind of expected really because he is squishy. Got to deal with all the sides and get rid of Ben every time he comes back. There we go for a 58. Now we have something that I just tried like completely out of the blue. This is a Nightsister with Asajj Omicron counter versus a Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron. I am wanting to try this in the next week, which will be week 2 of season 36, because I do feel like this could be actually quite good. Because the reason this works is because you can get the plague onto Jedi Anakin, and even though this is a broken Galactic Republic team, that's why I want to keep testing it. But as soon as you land that healing immunity from Asajj's second special, if you can then get Jedi Anakin to the red, so he's basically dead. Obviously, bearing in mind that the Omicron is stopping him from dying, so if you can get him really low, as soon as you kill off Qui-Gon Jinn, he will just pop because he can't cleanse himself because of the plague, and the healing immunity obviously just stops him from doing any sort of healing anyway. So we'll see that we kill him here, and then Jedi Anakin gets his bonus turn and just completely pops. So I'm interested to see how this is going to do with a standard Galactic Republic Qui-Gon Jinn team. So we shall obviously see how that gets on, because as you can see, there's only a Gear 11 like 5-star Kiad Mundi, so it wasn't an optimal squad. So I'm interested to see how it will do in this second week and see if I can get some good results. I'm probably going to be having more of an experimental second week than I did in my first week, just to try and find some new things out and just enjoy using some different teams essentially. But this is a very good counter if I can get it to work against a proper team. As you can see, I think we're about to get 64 banners against that, which is pretty nice. Saves you a GL or another like Bad Batch, which is obviously a very good counter for lots of other teams. Now we have a slightly different Phasmacron team with First Order TIE Pilot. This is kind of like a leftovers First Order squad. So Phasma leads against a standard Raddus team that we saw earlier. Just wanted to show you this as another option, just in case you put Hux or don't happen to have any of the other First Order characters to use. Able to get rid of Raddus pretty quickly there, but unfortunately he's instantly revived by Jinn. We should be able to get him down again pretty quickly. Obviously this isn't optimal compared to the Hux lead, but it does still work. See, the foresight from First Order TIE Pilots Omicron is helping a bunch from stopping us from getting hit, which is causing them to not be able to pop those exposes, which would do a lot of damage to me. So not great banners, but it's still manageable. Way 61. Now we just have a C Solo versus a Mothma. Just wanted to show you that maybe in the mid-tier game where lots of people don't have a optimal Mothma squad and use bigs and things, you can literally just put C in there if you've got a spare Galactic Legend and put it on full auto, and you will get a nice easy win. Don't know why C decides to link up the summon, a bit odd, but never mind. Here we go for a 68. Now we have C Watt versus Malgus. I have been finding that I am needing to use some sort of support with C against Malgus. I did try a solo attempt in one of my fights in the first week, but that did not go very well at all. You definitely need an armorer or a Watt to be used here to be able to get the most use out of, well, to be able to actually win, I suppose, because my C got absolutely obliterated when I used him just on his own, because all the extra stats that you get from the recent Datacrons, all the defense and crit avoidance and things just make it really annoying to chunk through this team. Bear in mind that they get extra bonuses for a lot of dark side teams at the moment, so it is kind of worthwhile to take an extra couple or whoever you need to take with you for C against Malgus. So the usual counters are kind of really C and Watt, or C with like Geo Brood Alpha and Armorer or something like that, and that will give you a nice easy win. But it is quite expensive still, because obviously it still costs you a Galactic Legend. Hondo is a K against Malgus if you have the Hondo Cron and him at Relic 7, but it's still quite an expensive counter, and it isn't great banners either, so most of the time Galactic Legend is required to be used against Malgus. We are going to get decent banners in this, even though Watt's died. I believe we get a 65, which is essentially the same as running a full team with full health and protection, so I see that as a win in my books, for a counter at least. And there we go. Oh, okay. Just have a little bit of a tickle fight at the end, but there you go for 65. And now we have a SLKR first order counter versus a Jabba Hux. This is without the Chrysanthemum Omicron, but it is with a Jabba Cron, and obviously I'm using a SLKR Cron on my team, so we are fortunate enough to make quite light work of this team. Boosh could be really annoying if she gets going, but I'm just trying to line up a kill with SLKR here so Chrysanthemum can't revive. So we are getting quite fortunate at the moment. I'll do a mass assist, so I just did a basic, and now we can get rid of Chrysanthemum. That's the Datacron I ran and we're facing, so you can pause there if you need to have a look. Lost Hux, unfortunately. The next target is get rid of Boosh as quickly as possible. There goes Skiff Guard. Now we can get rid of Embo last. First Order Officer gets eaten by the Rancor, which is fine. I think the AI targeting for Jabba's ultimate could probably do with a bit of work. It doesn't seem consistent with any counter you use, really. I don't know how the AI actually works, but it seems to be completely random, which seems quite odd for a Galactic Legend ultimate. You think it would probably... So like I would have prioritized getting rid of crew here with the Jabba ultimate rather than First Order Officer, because First Order Officer probably would have died off to thermals anyway. So I'm not really too sure how it works in terms of like how high value targets or how it actually targets anyone, but I mean, I'll take it if it decides to target the wrong person. As long as it works in my favor. That was a 55 there. Now we have a Traya Sith Triumvirate team without the Omicron against a Savage Omi led Sith team. So it's pretty straightforward, really. We're just waiting for Annihilates basically with Nihilus and killing the sides of Brown Savage when we can. Thought I was going to do a lot more damage to Count Dooku, but only did like 20k. A bit disappointed. So we can get rid of Savage here with the first Annihilate, and then it's pretty much game, set, and match at this point, because you can just clean up the others. I probably could have just put this on full auto. I don't think it was anything I could have done at this point to recover any banners or anything. So once Savage is dead, I'd probably just stick this on full auto if you want. So I have two more fights after this. One is a Veers Trooper fight against an Palpatine Starkiller team, which is very good with the 20% turn meter to start. I'll explain that when we get to that. And then a Wampa fight against a Phasma First Order Type Pilot, and that will be the end of this video. So here is the Veers Troopers fight versus a Starkiller with Emperor Palpatine Mara, the usual lineup basically. And all you need to do for this is just have a 20% start turn meter, 20%, I don't know how to say it. Is it 20% turn meter per dark side ally for the weakest, which in this case is Dark Trooper, which means you can then use the second special to boost your turn meter, and that allows you to outrun the team completely. And if you target the squishies first, you probably will have to go after the tank, which could be quite annoying, but luckily in Juhani's case, as soon as she goes below 100% health, her taunt falls off. But then after the taunt is out of the way, or you've got round the taunt, just go for whoever's squishiest, which is normally either Mara, or most of the time it is Emperor Palpatine. But it's also very dependent on relic levels. And just get rid of someone very quickly so you can keep boosting your turn meter up. That was quite funny. I did get a nice counter to the face there from Starkiller. Obviously quite angry that I'd killed his team off, so he just deleted my Veers. We just delete him. So you can get full banners, obviously, if you can get a mass swarm onto Starkiller or just manage to one hit him. That would have been a 62 realistically. Now we have a Wampa fight versus a Captain Phasma. First Order Type R Omicron team. Pretty straightforward. I probably could have put this on full auto as well. So I do hope you have enjoyed this video. There's not as many teams as I would have liked to have put in. I just wanted to get a highlight reel out a bit quicker than what I had been doing in the previous season, so there is some sort of reference for you guys to use in your own Grand Arenas. So I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, a like and comment is always much appreciated, and don't forget to hit that sub button down below. And I shall catch you in the next one.